System 1 loaded. Booting up system. Loading.
Gabriel Valentine.
Loading.
Dan Brozo. This is the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown. 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 Meltdown.
Welcome to the D-Lod Show live at Meltdown. Hey guys,
what's up, guys? You know, I consider that to be one of my talents in life.
What, making people uncomfortable?
Is to be able to say what people are saying as they're saying it. You're not gonna say anything, so you can't see my skills at it.
I want to prove you wrong, so. I don't like.
It's
your
super
attitude
annoying.
Right
It's super annoying. I know.
I thought you were gonna keep going with.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I won't.
I don't
can't.
mind.
I won't. Yeah, you do. You
I'm
clearly
in a really good mood right now.
And I'm in a bad mood, folks.
Yeah.
I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed at about 11:30 today.
You only have one side.
I know. You're right.
Actually.
Because you take
I've
up the
slept
other
in your
one.
bed.
Not in a weird way.
No.
Like a bunk beds kind of way.
Yeah, we're
Well,
homies.
With
We're
no
homies.
bunks. There's the same
And
mattress. We have that
anyways.
divider, though. That divider we put up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
That's okay.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
Sorry,
Welcome to the
guys.
D-Lod Show.
It's the D-Lod Show.
You know what time it is. So we got a lot of really cool reviews from our list that we did a few episodes back on our favorite.
Oh, yeah. People dug the list.
Video
of
games,
the
soundtracks,
top
and stuff.
Video game soundtracks, yeah. So we're going to
apparently Dan won. We just put that, on.
Oh, according to a few people. I mean, you pick the best soundtracks in the universe and you're going to win, you know? You just pick lame ones.
Humble brag.
I'm just kidding.
No, dude, it's fine.
Dude, I picked Katamari.
That's
like
that owned.
Yeah, that's like a wild card and a fan favorite.
Yeah, that was good though. Good job, man.
Word, dude. All right, well, let's
Not
see.
that we're keeping track, but let's see who wins this
one. We bring
one.
that up because we're going to do another list. In honor, it was recently announced that Disney is going to reboot DuckTales in 2017. Dude, you just did a mic drop. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real deal. DuckTales coming 2017. That's
F,
only
yeah.
2 years from now. So, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Uncle Scrooge. Donald actually makes an appearance a couple times. Wait, who's Huey, Dewey, and Louie's dads?
I thought it was Donald.
Donald?
Yeah, because he used to have a
Donald's
book.
only in the show like 2 times.
He's a really bad dad.
He is. He's awful. And they don't have a mom either.
Horrible father.
Daisy must be the mom, right?
Yeah, but she's kind of...
Because he's Uncle Scrooge.
she has a questionable career. So.
Okay, so hold on. He's Uncle Scrooge, which means that he's Donald's brother.
Yeah.
But he's much older.
So? What does
Right?
that have to do with
and he's
anything?
Scottish, too. Like,
So? Donald's Scottish?
no, he's not. Oh, you just can't tell because
He's a sailor because he was in the Navy.
His accent is so exactly. He is in the
Donald
Navy.
Duck
in the
is
show.
in the Navy.
I know. That's like
Is he really?
one of the 2 times. Are you kidding? That's one of the 2 times you see him on the show. Is he's like in the Navy. He's on a boat.
I totally was just
That's
joking.
a joke?
That
No,
was-
that's
I
for real
100%
DuckTales lore.
That's so
Some
funny.
canon DuckTales right there.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
It's
dun,
like
dun,
a
dun, dun,
hurricane.
dun,
It's a duck
dun,
world.
dun, 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 dun,
What is
dun,
that one?
dun.
Oh,
It
you're
drops a
doing the
little bit.
breakdown,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, all right, let's get to the list. Let's hurry up. I want to get to our guest. We got a really cool guest
solve a
today.
mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales. Woo. All right, sorry. Just that's the thing. Here's the list we're doing today.
We're probably
guys.
going to be
best 90s cartoons. Well, our favorite 90s
favorite.
cartoons.
Yeah, because there's so many.
And part of what makes a 90s cartoon so good is the theme song. Can you agree with that? You definitely agree with that.
I get
Come on,
behind that.
DuckTales?
I get behind
I'm
that.
not even going to say anymore.
Because it gets you excited for the rest of the show.
Oh my God, yes. And
Yeah.
things that like I often forget people's names that I've like worked with for like 2 years, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy.
It's DuckTales.
But no, I don't use cartoons as monikers for them.
It's Huey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that either.
Okay,
But
cool.
like I will forget people's names that I've worked with for like years and years. Not like closely, but people that I've like been around, you know. But I will remember the theme songs to like 100 different 90s cartoons until the day I die.
Well, let's do it. Let's
yeah,
get
let's
into
talk about it. Okay.
All right, who wants to go first?
All right. I'll go first.
Let's flip a coin. What'd you call?
Airs.
Airs? All right, I go first.
You came up tables?
Yeah.
Okay. Go for it, dude.
My number 3
Yes.
is
we're doing a top 3.
Rocket Power. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, please, don't even.
No, Rocket Power's
whatever,
solid.
dude. Rocket Power is awesome.
Rocket Power is pretty
That's something I would look forward to. Okay, actually, you know what?
After school.
Oh, yeah.
After school every
because all
day.
my friends were into skateboarding. And, like,
yeah.
it was funny because that
I
show.
was trying to capture that era, though.
Yeah, and that show was always, like, kind of bumming me out because, like, dude, I can't do any of that.
And these kids
stuff.
are like 5 years younger
Yeah,
than me.
dude. Yeah, that
yeah.
sucks.
Those kids are like 9 and 10, busting like.
Were they? I never really got their
McTwists and
age.
stuff. Yeah, I guess you don't really either.
Because Reggie was supposed to be in high school or something like
Reggie's
that.
kind of hot, though.
Ew.
I'm just
No,
kidding.
she's not.
Yeah, she is.
She's like your sister, dude.
She's like your sister. That's why
I
she's
guess.
hot to me.
Whatever.
Sorry.
But yeah, so Rocket Power,
Rocket
for
Power's
sure.
pretty good.
Number 3. Didn't have that great of a theme song, though.
I don't even
So,
remember the theme song. That's
it
how
was
not great
like-
it was.
Yeah, it was like...
Only
some-
thing
some
we
Rocket
really
Power.
remember from it is like the wiggity wiggity wiggity
Boogie,
wiggity
woogie, woogie, woogie,
wiggity.
woogie. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
All right. That's my number 3.
And I'll add this too. There was a chunky kid character in that show, and I would always identify with those characters because I was a chunky kid.
He always
name
has to.
Squid?
He always has to throw that in there. He always has to get sympathy from our viewers.
I was a
Pay no
fat kid.
attention to his whims.
Gabe was a fat kid too. He just doesn't want you to know. 'Cause
I don't
he's-
go around flaunting it to everybody.
I know
using
it's a
it
point of pride for
to get
sure.
into fashionable clubs.
The fashionable former fat kid clubs.
I used to be fat. Please let me in. And it works,
right
ladies.
This way, sir. Right this way, sir.
You should see like the girls he brings home, and it works.
From what? The fashionable former fat kid clubs?
The fat story. You use it all the time.
All
I mean, I guess I can't blame you
Do
because it's
I?
working. But if I tried to use it, it
right.
wouldn't work.
This is tangents. Our guest isn't even here. We're getting on tangents. Okay, so my top 3. I didn't pick actually the order of them. Well, I know what number 1 is. All right, I'll go for it. So I picked there's so many 90s cartoons that are really really good, but they're all just really really good in my opinion. There's like a few that aren't even like typical. Like you picked like a kids show. The 2 of the ones I picked are like
Picked an awesome
arguably
show.
Actually, all of mine are arguably not kids shows. So I'm
Okay.
going to say my number 3, and it's a tie between 2 very closely related ones: Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Cartoon Planet. Which
Ooh.
I always say the best
Okay.
and my favorite cartoons are ones that as a kid you can enjoy, and as an adult you get like way more out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So like Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
You can still watch that today.
Exactly, yeah,
like, you're
and
getting
it's,
more
it's better
jokes,
now.
too.
It's better
Yeah.
now that I'm an adult and I'm like, oh, he's like clowning on Bjork for being weird, instead of just like, oh, he's interviewing this strange girl in this TV that I'm not really familiar with the music of, and
Yeah.
like, oh, here's Tom York, and I don't really know what Radiohead is because I'm like 10 right now, but this is still funny and interesting, and there's cartoons and there's like, it's silly. Yeah, you don't like Tom York? I'm not making a judgment call on Tom York.
No.
I'm just saying like.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was when I was a kid watching the show, and now when I watch it, I'm like, oh, dude, this is rad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. And Cartoon Planet was like more aimed towards kids. It was like more like one-linery. There weren't interviews. It was quicker paced.
Quickly paced.
So both of those really, really good.
What's up, Julio?
What?
Oh, dude, nothing.
You just got clowned.
Yeah. Clowned hard.
Yeah. Don't ever do that again, though. Like, we're doing a show right now. Don't be talking to people off camera. What's your number 2, Gabe? Go. What's your number 2, dude?
My number 2 is it's a toss up. I have to go with Powerpuff Girls.
Okay. That
Yeah.
is legit.
And it was beat out. It was beat out by or Powerpuff Girls won over Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that was my other one. But definitely Powerpuff Girls. I mean, just the imagination,
Dude, the villains,
the
some
villains,
of the best villains ever.
the stories, the episodes,
The voice acting.
every single episode of Powerpuff Girls is
Gendy
good.
Tartakovsky is top notch,
Dude.
man.
And so
Does no
again,
wrong.
even though that's definitely a kid's show, there's
Dude,
so much
exactly.
hidden adult
Exactly.
content in there, like stuff
I
would
watched
not
it.
fly
I watched it
these
with my
days.
aunt one time when I was a kid, and she was like, "Is this is a kids show?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Oh, like if you're asking what do you mean, then you don't get
Yeah.
any of this weird stuff that's going on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
weird creepy
him,
stuff.
Him is like one of my favorite villains
Oh,
of all time.
dude,
That
yeah.
guy's creepy.
Super creeps.
Such a good villain.
Absolutely.
And I never counted Mojo Jojo as a villain. He was just like,
He's just a
wrong
tortured
place,
soul.
wrong time.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't like Mojo Jojo though.
it's kind of annoying, but
If there's
he has a
one
good
villain
heart,
on
though,
that
dude.
show, Yeah, but
heart.
he's so annoying.
He actually loves the Powerpuff Girls. He like wants to be the Powerpuff Girls. You know.
He does. He becomes like a Powerpuff Monkey at one point
Yeah.
in one episode.
Sounds like a candy bar.
Powerpuff Monkey.
Powerpuff Monkey.
It's
Chunky.
like bananas and marshmallows and stuff.
All right.
and
What's
sprinkles.
What's your second?
My number 2. This is easy. Rocco's Modern Life. And we're talking about awesome theme songs. B-52s did their theme song. Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life. Come on, join me, bro. I'm not just
Rocco's
gonna.
Modern Life. I don't know. I don't know the theme song.
You don't know the theme song?
I don't know.
The B-52s
Of course, I
did.
watched Rocco's
Okay,
Modern Life,
fair
but
enough.
I don't. I definitely don't.
Wow,
know the theme
okay,
song. I
interesting.
don't remember it at least.
So when I was a kid, I
Are you gonna
thought.
play it?
Yeah, no, I'll play some. I'll play some audio from the theme songs over this and stuff. When I was a kid, I thought that my career was going to be a voice actor. Like that was my favorite thing to do. I would sit in front of
Still
the
could
TV.
happen.
No, it could definitely still happen,
Yeah.
and I'd love to still do it. But I thought that would be like my driving passion in life. Turns out I have no driving passion. I just do a bunch of random stuff that I love doing it all, but nothing in my like this is the one thing. But anyways. I would sit in front of the TV and I would copy all the voices on Rocco's Modern Life. That was the show that I would do.
Do a
that
couple for us.
Like who do you want to hear? Beverly. that's
I had the art
Ed
game.
Big Head.
I had the art game where you could like make
Rocco.
Yeah, or you could like make movies. You like make movies.
Yeah,
with
no,
the
I remember
characters?
that, yeah.
I had that game.
Yeah,
on
and
the
then
computer.
let me try that again. Hey Rocco. That
Whoa.
one's not that good. I haven't practiced in a while.
It's like you're there.
I'm nauseous. That one's bad too. I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous. These aren't good. These are really bad.
I like them.
I haven't practiced them in a while. Hey, Hef. Hi, Hef.
I like 'em, Dan.
Spunky.
Anyways, right.
Yeah, I'm very, very out of practice with those. I need to like sit down and copy that. Anyways, Rocco's Modern Life, probably the biggest example of all of the '90s cartoons of one that kids can watch, but then there's so much more that adults are getting out of it,
Yeah.
which I miss. I feel like that
Did
doesn't
you like
exist
that more
as
than Ren
much.
and Stimpy?
Yes, because Ren and Stimpy was like so over the top. I still love Ren and Stimpy, but it was just like beat you in the head with like crudeness and like.
Yeah.
Remember when they would do they'd like show something gross and they'd do like an extreme close up of it. Like that was rad, but it's just like Rocco's Modern Life was a little more subtle, and
It's
was
like the
not
throw
even
up.
that-
It's like the throw up jokes in Family Guy. It gets old after
Exactly.
a while. It's like, come on, really?
like I'm still
another
down
throw
for
up.
Ren and Stimpy. I'm
Yeah.
still sort of down.
And
for
I love Family Guy.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I love
But,
Seth MacFarlane.
but yeah, Rocco's Modern Life is a far superior product, and it's just the characters, and it's great. It's just a great show,
Yeah.
dude. I love Rocco's Modern Life.
All right, ready for mine?
Yeah.
My number one.
Yeah.
Number one, and it might not be that much of a shocker to a lot of people, but Batman Beyond.
Oh, dude.
Batman Beyond.
Excellent. I didn't
And
even
it
pick
had
any
ev-
action shows.
And
in
it
mine.
has everything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Such a rad intro song
Yeah.
and sequence. I mean, the opening sequence is rad on its own.
Yeah.
The opening track was
Dude,
done by
That's
Static
a
X.
good one.
Static X did like the opening track for
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's Kevin Conroy as Batman still. He's like just in his 80s, and he has Terry McGinnis, who takes over the suit, and just like the origin story. It's like it's a new origin story of Batman, and it may not be just as awesome, but it's just. It's
really
so cool, and
freaking
it's
good.
worthy. It's worthy
It's
of
so
the
worthy.
It's worthy of the Batman suit for
Yeah.
sure. Like what he does, and it's awesome. I love that entire series. I can watch that series anytime, anywhere. I have all the seasons. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great show. That's a good one, dude. That's a really dang good one.
Cool. All right.
All right, so my number one.
What's
You
your
ready?
number one?
My number one, and this one barely snuck into the 90s because we're doing 90s cartoons only. This one started in 1999 and then continued on for years, and just kind of finished recently-ish too. You ready, dude? You already know what it is.
I don't know.
Like
I
I
wasn't paying
have
attention to you.
collections of memorabilia of this show.
Oh, I do know what it is. I know
Yeah.
what it is now. Yeah. Okay.
Like I have like probably about $1,000 worth of like action figures and like
I definitely know what it
plushes
is.
and all like I love this
You
show.
guys ready?
Futurama.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. When you talk about Futurama, just Matt Groening is a topic, and you want to be like, oh, but it's inferior to The Simpsons. In many ways, yes.
I like it better than The Simpsons.
I
to be
do
real.
too, like overall, because first off, like how good Futurama is, and I'm a purist. I am like a seasons 1 through 4 purist with Futurama. The later stuff.
Oh, is that a
not
thing?
nearly- oh yeah. Well, I honestly actually don't know.
Is that when it ended? like technically
ended, and then they did the movies, and then they started up more seasons on Comedy
and
Central.
they're about to start more seasons coming up.
Are
soon,
they?
I guess that's what I heard. I don't know.
That they're always in. They've talked about like if Netflix wanted to fund them doing more Futurama, they would do it. They're down to do it. They're always down to do it, but they don't have the writers they had in the beginning, and all the character. I can go on rants for days and days on why the later seasons are not as good as the beginning ones, but either way, just the concentration of quality that Futurama has compared to Simpsons, Futurama beats the crud out of it. Because Simpsons has many seasons that are just and Futurama is like most of it is really good.
Yeah.
And it's sci-fi, and the characters, and there's
that
robots,
show.
and there's
That show has
spaceships.
a lot to do. I mean, there's so much really cool social commentary on that show.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
It just goes like right over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah, and it doesn't try to either. Like
just
in
does.
the later seasons, it has like the iPhone episode. It's like a thing, like an implant in your eye. That stuff's stupid. That's like don't try to be South Park. Let South Park be South Park. But just do your thing, man. Do it subtly, and it's perfect that way.
Subtly.
Subtly.
Subtly. Like suds? Like soap?
Subtly.
Bathwater.
Subtly.
Mr. Bubble. Mr. Clean.
Scrubbing
What are we
bubbles.
talking
They
about?
clean the bowl so you don't have to.
All right. I'm going to get to some comic books.
Yeah.
You guys
Wait,
let us
no.
know.
First, do you forget this? Speaking about the future and technology and gadgets and such,
That's right.
let's check in with the dudes
My
at
bad.
Silly Valley.
It's our new segment.
The
I
Tech
need
Minute.
to beat it in my head real quick.
Mm,
Oh, you're supposed
I
to.
don't want to touch your hair, though. Not in that sense. I'm saying, like, I don't want to mess it up, dude.
Oh.
It's like a work of art. Yeah. It is an animal.
This is the Tech Minute. Up in Silly Valley?
Silly Valley.
Silly Valley.
Chink, chink.
Thanks, Dan and Gabe.
Welcome to the Tech Minute.
We're going to share our favorite stories from right here in Silicon Valley.
Most of them are true.
Eric Schmidt announced that Google is finally moving all of their internal software to the cloud. Meanwhile, over at Apple, Steve Jobs already moved to the cloud like 4 years ago.
Nikola Labs made a new iPhone case that captures stray radio waves to help power your phone up to 30% longer. But if your charge lasts more than 4 hours, get medical help right away. Early users note that it works best when there's electricity in the air, like at singles bingo night at the Boca Raton Jewish Community Center. Okay, big business news from last week. In the most expensive moment of internet nostalgia ever, Verizon bought AOL for $4.4 billion.
That acquisition pretty much doubled the average age of Verizon customers. And yes, they are going to update their iconic advertising campaigns.
Grandpa, can you hear me now?
I know I'll be excited to hear my iPhone say, "You've got voicemail!" Until I remember it's just 45 seconds of my parents trying to end the call.
And that's our time.
And now back to
DLOD!
Stay silly.
Bye, bite.
Thank you, Will and Scott, for that very fascinating tech news. Wasn't that great?
That was pretty sick, dude.
That was real
I'm glad we're
sick.
doing that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm really
Hey,
stoked on it.
spoiler alert, we don't actually know what they're going to talk about until they send it in.
Why?
So, like, we can't, like...
Why do you defuse the magic?
Because, like, how
Why
do we
you
react?
take the magic away?
Real interesting about that gadget and or website.
Give me back my magic.
You got your own magic. Who's got his own magic? All right, so let's
yeah.
talk about comic books.
All right, let's do it, man.
All right.
You go first.
I'll go first.
We
Okay.
got these sweet posters to go along with
yeah,
the one you
first
got.
off, we'll show you some B-roll of these, but we'll also hold them up right now. These
Compliments
posters.
of Villainous Lair.
Yeah.
That's hooking us up.
Got some sweet posters. Ooh, mine's like cardstock. I
Mine's
thought
a
that one was
flimsy.
better, but
Flim-
mine's cardstock.
Flim
so.
flam.
So it's called We Can Never Go Home. And basically, it's about these two teenagers who are essentially running away from home. Their names are Duncan and Madison. And what's his name? Rollo from Villainous Lair.
Yeah.
He succinctly put
Shout
it
out.
in that it's kind of like what teenagers would actually do if they found out they had superpowers. Instead of, like, you see so much stuff where it's like, all right, we'll have superpowers, so I have to defend the universe now.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what you would do if you had superpowers,
That's
right?
not what I would do if I had superpowers.
I mean, I would probably eventually, but at first I'd party hardy, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'd like steal a bunch of
I'm
money.
not even sure if I would eventually. I'd probably
I don't
steal
know.
some
It's hard to say.
stuff. I'd probably do some
because
pretty bad
like
stuff.
you need like a greater purpose in the world, right?
Maybe you don't. Maybe the greater purpose is like
Just partying,
we don't need to get all theological. Right
stealing
now.
a yacht, and like just cruising, just being a pirate lord.
Pirate lord.
Being a pirate lord would be pretty tight, though.
Good day,
But
lord.
you're working for good as a pirate lord.
Yeah,
So it's got a rad art style. It's really gritty.
it is very cool.
It's got good writing. It's pretty.
Black Mask, too.
Yeah, Black
They're
Mask.
up and coming.
Absolutely.
They're doing a lot of really cool stuff.
I like the characters. It's fun. And it's just like it's very real, which I think is my favorite part about reading it. Is there's no point where you have to do like the suspension of disbelief thing where you're like, all right, these guys would do this, I guess. Like it's a comic book or it's a movie or it's a TV show. This is like, oh yeah, this is what these people would actually do in real life.
The cover is, I love the cover actually. If you look at it,
Yeah,
it's really
with
cool.
some
At first,
B-roll.
there's some, you guys are probably looking at it right now.
Yeah.
But there's as you can see, it looks really cool at first glance. I mean, it just looks, it's pretty. You look at it a little bit more and you see that there's kind of like a story all in itself, like just in the cover, which is pretty rad. And I feel like that's like the best thing about comic books, you know, using every ounce of visualism, you know, to like tell a story, like from start to finish.
I love
It's
when
awesome.
they use their visualism well.
Visualism.
Yeah.
What was the other word? Diddly? What'd you use?
When? You just said visualism.
Visualism. But no, but you
Visual
had one
Lizards
earlier.
of Doom.
Visual Lizards of Doom.
I don't know what I said.
Sick.
Diddly?
No.
Like Flanders?
It's stupid. Yeah, I don't even know why I said that.
We'll talk about it later. Anyways, We Can Never Go Home. Really good. Hood, Kindlin, and Rosenberg.
Black
Thanks
Mask.
for putting this thing out. Black Mask. Issue 2 is out now. There's more to come. Check it
Come
out.
pick it up at Villainous Lair.
Yes.
It's right over here. You can get it right up front. It's awesome.
Yes, Villainous Lair is right over there. Wait,
We're
it's
actually
all
in
around
Villainous
us.
Yeah, it's all around you. Yeah.
What do you got,
so
bro?
I got the newest thing from Grunt 1B Comics. Chad Kavanaugh, which is a good buddy of mine.
Yeah.
Have you met Chad?
I don't think so.
He's really cool. I thought you met him at Free Comic Book Day last year.
But
he was pretty busy.
I
He's
had
always
partial face blindness, though, remember?
That's right. He's always super
remember
busy.
faces.
He's in pretty high demand right now. He's doing so much crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
this is his newest thing, man, which he told me about it a while ago that he's been working on. It's kind of like a noir style comic book. So it's Bedlam in Troubletown. It is so freaking cool, man. And
I was looking over your shoulder when you were reading it. It is Grits McGrittersons, bro.
It's gritty, but I mean, dude, he just does that so insanely
Like,
well.
when I was reading mine, I got some, like, slight vibes of Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
movie. And then when I was looking over at yours, I was like, all right, no, that's way more Pulp Fiction-y than mine.
It's awesome, man. I mean, like, just visually, he just does some amazing work, and just the way he puts you inside the frame. I mean,
Yeah,
just this
is very
this 3
creative.
frames right here. We'll try to get some B-roll of that. I mean, wow, man. There's emotion, and it's just black and white, and it's crazy. Like, but
He does
anyways,
some very creative stuff with
Yeah.
his page layouts and
he kind of almost has like a 3D thing. Really makes the characters like pop out of
like
the
things
screen for you.
yeah, come out of the frames and stuff.
Really, really cool. But
Yeah, it's
anyways,
rad.
it's about, a dude, seems like not going to give it away. He's kind of down on his luck a little bit. And he's, taking care of some business, and
He's going number 2. What?
no, just kind of seems like he's protecting something. Like he's protecting something larger. That's a larger part of his life, and it will reveal later on what's going on. Really not giving anything away.
Yeah.
And it's just it's awesome. It's really cool, and he's just a total BA, dude. And he gets
It's a
it opens-
badass, ladies and gentlemen.
he gets a visitor. Let's put it that way. And if you want to know what happens, you better go pick it up.
But don't
it's
take
pretty
it from
sweet.
him.
No, yeah. Go read
Go-
it. It's
Go
super
take
awesome.
a look in a book.
Very awesome. Chad, you rock, dude. Very nice job. I want to get him to come on the show.
Yeah, let's
sometime,
do
too.
that.
Be really cool
Absolutely.
to have him come on. So, yeah, go pick it up. Bedlam in Troubletown.
It looks really good.
by,
And hey, again,
Grunt 1B Comics.
I don't think either of these are for the kidlets.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
These are
so-
both like violent and
yeah,
gnarly.
These are
and
not.
There's some adult themes in here.
These are not like before
No,
bedtime.
you showed me a frame in there that was just like, whoa.
Yeah, so had the child's eyes, and he actually even signed this for us too.
Oh,
for the
nice.
D-Lod show. Yeah, how sick
D-Lod
is that?
por vida.
Yeah,
Is that in honor of Cinco de Mayo, which happened
I think
recently?
so. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's not politically correct.
What?
That noise
I'm
you
Latin
made.
American, dude. I can say that.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can make... All right, let's just,
That's
let's just
my
clean past this.
party. I mean, I just can't do a very good one. So.
Oh, that's right. You know, I've gone to many parties where you just walk in and make that noise, and then everybody's just like, yeah.
Everyone gets down. And if they don't get down, they can get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
All right, let's
get to our guest.
let's get to our guest, dude.
All
This is
right.
gonna be rad.
Commander Echo's guest of honor.
Ding dong.
Our guest has arrived.
Here we are, the D-Lod Show, Commander Echo's guest of honor, with Mark Irwin himself.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Not much. How's it going?
It's going good, dude. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I think we're
Thanks
both
for
like
having me.
mildly starstruck right now, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Like we
trying...
had the guy from Lincoln Park on like last couple weeks back, and like that was like, oh yeah, this guy is cool. And now I'm like slightly nervous sitting next to you, dude.
Well, as long as it's mildly.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Good,
It's
good,
not.
Yeah. Don't take it too seriously.
I'm like 22% nervous right now.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, anywhere below 30 is good, right?
And
It's good.
and you brought us presents too.
I did.
Yeah, exactly.
You brought us presents, so we'll have to show those.
Yeah, we'll
on
get some B-roll of those.
so,
Those are
for sure,
beautiful.
man. So, how you been, dude? First of all,
Good, man. Just working away.
nice.
Working away. So.
Every time I talk to you, you're like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Zoom, gotta go," on to the next thing. So that's really
Yeah,
cool.
It's a busy life, you know.
Awesome, man.
What's like a day in the life for you, if that is even quantifiable?
Yeah, I wake up early, and I have my own little creative services company, and I kind of wake up early. I do all the checking my email and drinking coffee and catching up. And then basically around noon, from that point on, I ink. And I usually work on that until 2 or 3 in the morning and go to sleep and start all over the next day.
What projects are you inking right now? If you're allowed to talk about that.
No, I am. I'm the regular guy on Green Lantern. So that's kind of my ongoing.
Yeah.
And then whatever else they throw at me. So.
Gotcha.
Do you do more DC stuff than Marvel, or?
The last couple years of my career have been mostly with DC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a pinch hitter for X-Men
Nice.
when they need me.
Yeah.
But that's kind of rarity nowadays. So
Cool.
it's mostly DC work.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, I'm gonna get the fan service question out of the way. Who is your favorite superhero to draw?
That's gotta.
I know that's a question that artists get asked all the time.
Right.
But like, you know, I want to know. I'm sure viewers want to know too.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of favorites.
Okay.
And I have a lot of favorites
That's
for
a
each of the
diplomatic,
companies.
very diplomatic answer.
I love drawing Hal Jordan because
Yeah.
that's the Green Lantern that I'm working on, and he's kind of easy face-wise to draw, and
Yeah.
I have fun drawing him. Wolverine is always a favorite.
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah,
That's like
I
every
like Martian Manhunter too. Actually, Martian Manhunter is super fun, a favorite character. So
Yeah.
those are probably my 3 favorites.
That's rad, dude.
Dig it.
Do you draw most of the characters at your studio, like at your house, or like?
Yeah, I do all the work
they
at
provide-
home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
either because I'm an inker, so either I get pages sent to me, depending on who the artist is. Most of the, like, if it's Jim Lee or Chris Pichello or guys like that, they live here or close by, so they FedEx me pages. But the guy that I'm inking on Green Lantern, Billy Tan, he's either in Malaysia or China, so he sends me the pages via email. And then I print out everything on DC board at home
Nice.
in blue line, and then I ink over it. So
So.
yeah,
So
it's
living
a digital
the dream,
age, man. I never leave.
Yeah. do you do it all by hand, or is there software you use?
I do it all by hand.
That's awesome. dude.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of clueless when it comes to the digital stuff.
Are there
so.
inkers that do it digitally?
There are digital inkers out there. I don't know if there's a lot of them that work on regular books because
okay.
digital stuff doesn't look quite as
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
anymore. But a lot of pencilers now can digital ink themselves. So inking is becoming kind of a lost art to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Or the number of inkers I think is shrinking as far as like the major books go because a lot of guys can do the whole job themselves. So
Actually, you guys just segued into something that I was going to ask you about anyways, so it's kind of perfect. But, okay, so you brought up the fact that inking is becoming a lost art. I've always wondered about that because I was reading a 30 Days of Night comic book. Like, I mean, when the movies were like really popular, and then IFC was doing that special, or whatever, and the comic books, really great stories, but the comic books, I had no interest in reading them at all, besides just for the story's sake. It was all that digital art, like, style, and it looked like rough pictures that someone had like shoved in like Instagram or something like that, and it was really weird. So, like, are there techniques that, like, can you see, like, when someone does something like that, can you obviously tell, like, that it wasn't hand drawn, or are there like programs that you can actually, I mean, just you can fake it all the way, you know? I mean, because for music, there's like analog programs or like digital analog programs where you can make things sound like it was recorded in an analog studio. And I know there's a lot of producers out there that can still hear it and be like, yeah,
absolutely.
They can fake it really well, but you can still tell that wasn't recorded in an analog studio. So
yeah, I think it's I think it's really up to the artist, right? So if you're an incredible producer, you know, you're going to be able to mask 90% of the digital things that you do from the casual listener.
Yeah.
And maybe you're right. Maybe there will be another producer who can totally hear, like, you know, that click track or whatever, you know, that you're right that there are parts and aspects of that. But I think that if you're a really good artist and you know how to use, it's all about how you use the tool. So if you really know what you're doing digitally, you can, I mean, Will Spertasio is, he's been putting some stuff up on Instagram lately, and it's all digital, but it looks awesome. I mean, it's really beautiful stuff. And I know he's inking like on a tablet or something, and it just looks incredible. Yeah. But then I've seen a lot of people that aren't as refined and don't know what they're doing as well, and it does show in the art, you know?
Yeah, and for those of you that are watching, I'm not trying to knock on, you know, digital art at all by any means, but
Ben Templesmith's going to come and kill you. So, no, I'm kidding. Hey, Ben.
I mean,
or is he?
And there are a few comic books that we've reviewed on the show. That
like
been,
our independent picks, that
have been digital. Like that Punks one we did was completely all digital. Someone made like this really cool. Have you seen Punks at all? It's
yeah.
And it's almost like every page is kind of like a ransom note, like it's cut out, and it's all done digitally, and it's awesome. So I mean, and I guess that's where the whole creative thing comes into play, where it's like if you can use any tool to do anything, and you can make it as cool as you want, as long as you have that creative mindset. So
well, yeah, and we all have a different way of approaching things. You know, I use nibs and brushes, and the way I particularly use them isn't going to be the same way Scott Williams uses them, or Tim Townsend, or, you know, guys like that. We all have a different way of approaching the tool, so every one of, and you can kind of tell too. Like you look at something, you go, "Oh, Scott Williams inked that." You know, you can totally tell because the guy's freaking awesome. You know, and that, I think that kind of stuff it supersedes the tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's all about the art, the craftsman. Yeah, more than it is the craft. So
what are your like favorite tools? Like, what are your like what you must have? Because I'm sure like I mean, or I don't know, maybe you've gotten to a point where you just don't doodle anymore. But do you still just like have these ideas and just start?
Yeah, you know, like a lot of times it's if I'm on the phone or if I'm doing something else, I'll have like a piece of paper around, and I'll have a ballpoint pen in my hand, and I'll you know, crank out these like little goofy drawings, you know, and it's more for my benefit. It's not, they're never for anything, you know, it's just more for me. Yeah. If I'm sitting down to craft a design or something, though, I take it a little more seriously, and I sit down with like real tools and, you know, sit in my office at my desk and, you know, do it all kind of properly, because then that way I know that there's like a monetary thing at the end of it attached to it, so I'm not doing it as much for fun. I'm doing it because I have a job that eventually needs to get done. So,
but it's a fun job.
It's a fun job. It is a job, though. You know, like I'm always working. I always got something going on. You know?
I feel you. So. I have also chosen a creative path in my life for career-wise, and people are always like, "Oh, you got a fun job, Dan. Like it doesn't matter like what you do." I'm like, "No, it's a hard job and it's difficult, totally and I see it as work." But it happens to also be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's different for everybody. I mean, I have kids and a mortgage and all those kind of, you know, adult things. So it really does become, okay, I got to make the nut, you know, monthly nut, and, you know, I got to take care of all that kind of stuff. So you start thinking about things that way. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like the ebb and flow of the comic book market as far as like how much work you're getting, like how well you're able to, I don't know, get jobs and crank it out and stuff?
A little bit. You know,
Or is someone like you just like always in demand? Like, oh, we want this guy to do it.
I wish it was like that. I've always kind of had like a two paths going at the same time. Where when I first broke into comics, I was an intern at Wildstorm, for Jim Lee's studio, but after a year there of being an intern and then eventually slowly getting books and getting pages and stuff like that, I moved over to their consumer products department and became the art director. Wow. So I was able to get a salary, but still do work as well, do artwork as well. And I always kind of had both those things going on. So I went from there to Upper Deck. I became their art director. I was there for 10 years.
We had someone ask a question about that, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Funny that you brought that up.
Nice tease, Gabe.
But I guess the point is that I always knew, because I had kids, my kids are adults now, but I had kids, so it was always about taking care of my family. Yeah. So I wasn't as into the comics from that standpoint. Like, I wasn't like this fan that was so stoked that I was inking comics. It was like, no, I just got to get work. I got to get work. And so I always thought like that. And now that I've kind of toned back on or pulled back on some of that, and now I'm just an inker for the most part, other than my little company, that now it's more, I see the ebb and flow a lot more. I recognize it a lot more. Yeah. Thankfully I'm on a monthly book, so that helps a lot.
That helps,
so
that's tremendously.
Super cool. Do you ever, okay, especially for like Green Lantern, do you ever like get these shades in, and then like, do you ever get upset or nervous or, oh my gosh, where are they going with this, or with the story, or do you like, are you pretty aware of like what's going on?
Well,
how much do they reveal to you?
Yeah. Hopefully, the people watching this have picked up the last couple issues, but
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Sure,
spoiler alert. No, when I was inking, I think it was 38 or 39, and there was a lot of scenes of Kilowog, and I was having a blast inking them because Billy draws. Can I curse on this?
Oh yeah.
Billy draws the out of Kilowog. so I was having super fun inking it. Like, I mean, I think that's kind of like where Billy and I really started clicking is Kilowog. It looked great, and I was having fun. And I, when I turn in the pages, I upload them to DC, and I send a JPEG to the artist, the writer, my editors. They all get it at the same time. And I said, this is so fun. Like, I'm so stoked on Kilowog because he's a character I hadn't really gotten a chance to do before. So I was like, oh, this is so fun. And the writer writes back and he goes, oh, I hope you don't like him too much. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you'll see next issue. And I was like, oh no. And sure enough, we kill him off the next issue. So, and I was just like, oh man, like, God, it was so fun to draw. And that issue, the issue where we killed him off, like, it was some of the best Kilowog scenes ever. Yeah. And I had, I was having a blast inking him. So, yeah.
Bittersweet. Very bittersweet.
Very bittersweet, yeah.
So, because I also, I'm going to go ahead and say we're friends on Facebook as well. Put that out there. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of the stuff that you've done around town. You've done some pretty amazing, like, art pieces, dude, for, like, different businesses and stuff around town.
Thanks.
Are those city projects, or, like, who pays you for that?
It's all
contacts you for that.
It's all different stuff. My little company, Creative Militia, we do a wide variety of things. So I've been around for a long time, and I've kind of done a little bit of everything. So, like, I have project management and art direction experience and brand design and all that kind of stuff. So we do logos and
nice.
Like right now, we're doing a ton of concept art for video games.
Cool.
We have a lot of those kind of jobs on a smaller scale, not like on a EA games scale or anything like that, but more on like social games and stuff like that. And so we're kind of all over the place. Like, we did a logo for a coffee company, a coffee cafe in Vermont.
Oh, wow.
But they made it like it's all over the place now. Like, they made cell phone holders and all sorts of stuff with the logo that we gave them. And
good.
So we do all that kind of weird, random stuff.
Yeah.
So, but all those jobs are cool because I just look at them all as like something that keeps building my little company. And one of my favorite thing that we're doing right now is we do a lot of T-shirts and album art for album covers for metal bands. I'm a big metal guy. So
Dude, same here.
yeah. So there's a band called The Sword.
Oh, I
and,
love The Sword, dude.
One of my favorite bands.
And the immigrant cover of the Immigrant song,
Oh.
like, dude, that is like one of my favorite covers of all time.
Oh,
I
nice,
love The Sword.
nice.
So you do their album art because
We don't do
their album art's insane.
We haven't done. We're working on the new album for them right now. We hadn't done
tuned,
one
kiddies.
before. This is our first album that we've done with them, but we did all the T-shirts for their last album.
No
so like for
way.
that whole tour, they did like a 2-year long tour, and we did like. I think we ended up doing like almost 12 T-shirts for them.
Dang.
Yeah, I
So-
think I have one of those T-shirts.
Oh,
I think
sweet.
it's the one where their spaceship is just like blasting out of the.
Oh, that's
the Earth.
Warp Riders. That's the album before. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a great album, by the way. Yeah.
Dude, oh.
And there's another band called Black Cobra, which is a two-piece, and they're awesome. And we just did a T-shirt for them that I guess was a huge seller on their European tour, so that encouraged them to come back to us. And now we're doing their next album cover. So, jobs like that to me are like that's the kind of stuff I wanted to do in high school. Like I was so excited about it, and now I get a chance to do it.
Dude,
So
I didn't know you were into metal.
I'm a big metal guy.
Dude, have you heard of Electric Witch?
I've heard of Electric Wizard.
Electric Wizard, sorry.
Yeah.
I always get Electric Wizard confused with what's Demon Witch or something.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna no.
A little stoner doom metal there. Yeah.
Dude, I freaking love that stuff, dude. Especially when you're driving like cross country. Like
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
I go up to Portland, I'm just like I get all my doom metal tracks like in order.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
good
no,
to know,
I-
man. I gotta keep that. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
I'm an old school rock guy, so like I like all those. I like one of the reasons I like the Sword so much is because they're super heavy.
Yeah.
And lyrically they're dark and everything, and they got a lot of stuff that I like, but they don't. It's not the Cookie Monster vocals like they actually sing.
Yeah.
And
Super melodic
and I like
and
that.
that
Yeah,
stuff,
super
yeah.
melodic, and I kind of like I love that, juxtaposition of those two things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I saw them with, and this might sound like a crazy lineup. It may not. Every time I think it sounds like a crazy lineup, but I like the lineup. It was The Sword opened up. Actually, this other band who I didn't know opened up. The Sword opened, and then The Sword was like on the tour with
Caius.
Lamb of God and Metallica.
Oh yeah.
It was a few years back.
Yeah, that was a few years back.
And I was like, I saw that, and I was like, that has to be a joke. Like, I'm there.
yeah,
I'm
they
gonna
toured
be
all
there.
through Europe with Metallica.
Gosh,
So
but it was just, I was like, as much as I love all those bands, I was like, really? Like, they're gonna put them all together? Because that's like, those are three vastly different sounds. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm down.
yeah.
I just don't know who's
I'm
gonna
in for
go.
the long haul, but
But
yeah.
I'm like, I'm surprised. Like, that's like, cool. I'm there.
Yeah, well, and Lamb of God, like that's like a band like I can leave or take them. I'm not a huge fan of them,
I'm with you
but I
there.
love them musically.
Yeah.
I just could do without that guy singing.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that part of it, but I love the music. So
Have you seen their DVD, by the way?
no,
Super sweet dudes. Well, at least in their DVD. I mean,
Randy Blythe. Yeah, he's supposed to be a really good guy.
So
So
nice. Dude.
yeah,
Anyways, metal. Yeah.
yeah.
I could talk about metal.
We get sidetracked on metal. Yeah.
That's fine, dude. That's the point of the show.
That's
Tangents.
awesome, man. So, like, what do you got coming up, man? We were talking about something before the show.
Wow, I got a lot of
Any
stuff.
News on us?
Yeah, let's see here. I'll be in Denver in like 2 weeks for the
It's my
Denver
homeland.
Comic Con. Oh, okay,
Yeah, I was
nice.
born there.
Oh, wow. Very
Can't you
cool.
tell? Like, by this, like,
This is my
By this
overall Denver-y
complexion,
vibe.
like mountain man.
My milky white complexion. We don't see much sun out there, people.
Yeah, no, I'm going up there for their convention, which is it's a pretty good convention.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm doing my second podcast there. So.
Wow. Sick. So we're your first, man.
Yeah, you guys are my first. So,
Nice.
yeah. I'm losing my virginity
hear
right
that?
now.
This
It's not as painful as I heard it was like.
We're very gentle.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate
He
that.
is, at least. I don't know. But that's sweet, man. And so you were talking to us about your comic that you have coming out.
It's not a comic. It's
not a comic.
it's a book. It's an actual novel called Jack's Secret, and it's a I wrote a novel, and I'm working on the second one now. It's a series.
No big deal.
I wanted to try it. I wanted to see if I could do it, and
Is it a graphic novel or is it just
no, it's
straight up novel?
straight up novel.
Wow.
There is illustration to it. My partner Dan Panosian is the artist on it, and
We're pointing at some art from it.
we're
also.
pointing. I'm pointing at art.
So you listeners, viewers know, yeah.
But he does. He's doing like chapter heading illustrations and things like that for the book, as well as the cover.
Yeah. Which is
and-
a great touch.
Yeah,
I love that
it's-
stuff in any novel.
Exactly. That's my whole thought process was that I really like all the high adventure stuff. You know, the stuff that I grew up on, like high adventure, maybe some magic, but more like high adventure stuff. I'm a big Johnny Quest fan and things like that.
dude.
How could you not be?
Right here.
Yeah. So
Did you watch The Real Adventures?
I watched a few of them. I like the old show so much that it was hard for me
Yeah.
to get into the new one because of all the computer animation that was in it. That was
They
kind of
kinda
turned me
fuck
off.
with that.
I think it was dated for that time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the show had some good stuff to it, you know.
Yeah.
Good concepts and good ideas. So, and
It's like drinking Crystal Pepsi, man. It's just not the same. They're trying to be.
Crystal Pepsi?
I have to
You
try
don't know
that.
Crystal Pepsi? No.
I've never tried it. I've never. heard of it.
Probably should.
Sounds like something bad.
I know. It's like
It's Pepsi, but it's like
Crystal
see-through.
and Pepsi. It sounds
Yeah.
like a heart attack waiting to happen.
Sounds like somewhat
They
illegal,
love it in New
actually.
Mexico.
Yeah,
yeah.
right. No, so Jack kind of germinated out of when I was at Wildstorm for a brief period of time. Wildstorm, I don't know the whole story behind this, but they had the license for Johnny Quest, and there was no plan to do anything with it or anything like that. But I took it upon myself as like this inker that was just hanging out at the studio to write a 6-issue Johnny Quest miniseries, and so I did it. And Mike Oeming, the guy who draws Powers, I was a big fan of his, and I thought he was perfect for Johnny Quest. And this is either before Powers or right maybe at the very beginning of Powers. And I contacted him and said, hey man, you know, they have this license and I wrote this story, you know, can you check it out? And he loved the story and he was going to do it. And things happened at Wildstorm and it ended up just petering away. So it never happened.
Yeah.
But the experience of writing it was like, oh, maybe I can write, maybe I can do this. And so like the last 7 years or so, I just started working away at this thing. And I guess the way I initially wrote it was a comic. It was kind of a comic idea. And I met with this literary agent who read it and loved the concept, but told me, she's all, you write like a comic book writer. She's all, if you want this to be cool, you should write it as a novel. So you need to start all over.
Oh man.
So I did. I was at Upper Deck till 2010, and I got laid off in 2010, in March 2010. And I took like the next 4 months and just finished the book and wrote it.
Wow.
And I've pretty much been kind of editing it and tweaking it since then.
Yeah.
And it's ready to go. And so,
You know, now that you say that, it's kind of crazy because I can see just from that one picture, I can see the influence from Johnny Quest.
oh, totally.
Like
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
up. Like I didn't see it before, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's
100%,
awesome. Jesse, Johnny, and the dog. Like I'm assuming the dog's not going to eat them, right? That's their
No,
that's their
no.
homie?
He's a talking dog.
Okay, sweet. Dude, that's even. When does it come out? Or do you have a
We
date?
don't have a release date yet. We're working
Okay.
on it because there's a lot of different options now as an independent person to self-publish, and so I'm kind of examining all options, and
Yeah, the digital era.
everybody's
Back
doing
again, yeah.
Kickstarter, and I'm almost like overwhelmed with Kickstarter right now,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of trying to find other avenues, and I, you know, thankfully I've been doing comics for so long that between myself and Dan, I mean, Dan's been at it even longer than I have, so we both kind of have a little bit of heat as comic book people, so I'm hoping that we can translate that into getting a publisher to take a chance on us
Sure.
and take the book. So
Yeah.
I'd rather do it that way than try and do it all myself, because
Yeah.
I just don't have time.
The label I'm signed to, Matt, he's been trying to get me to do a Kickstarter for the show, kind of like
nice.
just to help with like marketing and stuff like that. And so after the show, I might have to pick your brain. After we do this, I might have to pick your brain a little bit because.
Well, you guys are already halfway there, just shooting video, because
Yeah, I
that's an important part of doing Kickstarter. Is
Oh, really?
You have to
One
have
of
a
the
video.
biggest parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's what he said. So he's a smart guy. I mean, I try to listen to him when I can, but for me,
I got
I
some
just,
qualms with Kickstarter.
I see this
I
is
don't like
stuff
the
I don't know.
concept of it.
This is the stuff I have no idea. Like
Yeah.
about like
I like
how do you get like how do people find you? Like what's the difference between
It's all about marketing.
exactly like what's the difference between Kickstarter or me just putting on like a donation button on my website? You know, like what would be like, oh hey, try to do
Well,
this, you know,
there's
pros and cons.
the pros of it is that people have a safety valve. So like, let's say you just put a donation button on your thing, and let's say everybody donates to you, and you make like 20 grand or something like that, and all of a sudden you God forbid, get in a car accident, or you need a new guitar for your live act, right?
Yeah.
And you just take the 20 grand, you just go blow it on that, right? Nobody has the ability to get their money back. They donate it to you.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, whereas Kickstarter, if you don't hit your goal, you don't. People automatically don't pay because they do it all. It's a credit card and stuff like that. So your credit card doesn't get charged if you don't hit your goal, and even if you do hit your goal, people's cards still don't get hit until you produce the thing, and you have to produce the thing. You're like in the public eye, So it's real hard to
screw people.
Well, not only not that people screw people purposely. Yeah. It's more just the idea of it forces you to follow through and get the whole thing done.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Well, you know what? I kind of can get behind that because I think that's definitely like a life lesson our generation needs, actually.
Following through.
Yeah.
But it's also like, hey guys, I wasn't able to do it myself, so can you help me out with some money? Like, I don't like that aspect of it.
I see that a little bit, but at the same time, I mean,
it depends on there's different campaigns that have a totally different vibe.
Absolutely.
In that sense.
Like for publishing it's an expensive undertaking to do. Like if you wanted to publish 20,000 books and then go out and try and sell them yourself, the cost up front is crazy, and then you got to warehouse them, and then you have to cart them around, and you have to ship them, and all those kinds of things. So like those costs all hit you at the same time, and that's where Kickstarter is very handy. Where I don't have a huge. I think Kickstarter's cool. I just think it's so overworked now, and now you see like big companies that should not be doing Kickstarter are doing Kickstarter. Like why is Archie Comics doing a Kickstarter? Like to me that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
because it should be for independent people. It should be for people that like. I don't have a place for my Space Cowboy book. Image won't pick it up. DC won't pick it up. Marvel won't pick it up. I need to self-publish. The only way I can self-publish is through Kickstarter. That's where
for that kind of stuff, the people that are investing are actually getting something physical out of it.
Absolutely.
So it's like if you were going to buy this anyways, absolutely donate because you're going to get the product.
Oh yeah, and all the incentives. Like you get them signed, or you get like the deluxe version that only has the one tip in plate.
Or you pay like 10 grand and then your face is drawn onto a page or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's cool stuff like that. And we talked about the Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk thing they're trying to make.
Yeah.
And like that I fully support. They're trying to, those guys from Firefly.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to make it's like a drama comedy, like kind of reality-ish about being pretty much they're playing themselves and they're going to conventions, and it's like the life of somebody that like lives on going to conventions now. It's like their experience at sci-fi conventions or comic book conventions and like turning it into like a sitcom essentially. And that's probably going to be a great show.
Yeah.
And I fully support. And they got like $2 million, and their goal was like 100,000 or something. Wow. So like clearly people want to see it, and they're going to get to see something awesome because they donated to this. So if the product is cool, totally worth it. I feel.
Yeah.
But there's just so many people out there that are like, oh, my band can't go on tour. We want to go to Europe.
That's
and
the
it would
stuff
be
I'm
awesome.
talking about. That, like,
but we're not that good.
Turns me
and
off.
like, yeah, exactly.
Because there was this. I saw this. Someone posted on Facebook. I don't know how I saw it, but someone was trying to fund their European like backpacking tour, and I'm like,
I'll send you a postcard. Like,
on one hand, I get it. Of course, I mean, if you had the opportunity to, a bunch of people liked you and you wanted to go to Europe, it like totally makes sense. I'm not trying to like knock that person's dreams or anything.
I might a little bit, but it's kind of a messed up dream.
Like,
you guys pay for it.
It's the whole oversaturation thing where I'm just like, well, how like. Is it really worth it? Because like, how many other people are putting up their stupid like, oh, I'm trying to go see pandas in China? It's like,
think about it like this. It's bringing things back full circle to what we talked about with the tools, right?
Yeah,
it's the same idea where the cream kind of rises to the top, right? So like I think the statistic is like 70 or 75% of Kickstarters fail.
Wow,
a very small percentage actually.
I would think even more fail than that.
But the reason for that is for exactly all of what we've talked about.
Oversaturation and stuff.
Well, oversaturation, but also the idea that if you're going to fund something, you're going to fund something that's worthwhile.
Yeah,
and not fund something that doesn't benefit you. Especially like if the goals are like the smallest donation you can make is $25 or something like that. Like that can be that can be a hit to some people. You know, like
Yeah.
if I'm not going to get anything out of it other than, you know, some guy sending me a picture of him petting koalas, you know, then you know, then obviously it doesn't become worth it, and then people don't donate.
Yeah.
So, and what's great about people donating is that when they do donate, again, helping the marketing thing, is that, you know, people follow you if you're donating on Kickstarter. Like I've donated to a number of campaigns, and
So have I,
and
actually.
people
Yeah.
follow
Same
me
here.
on there, and you can share the link on all of your social media. So people get like this almost quadruple marketing.
That's pretty cool.
because all of the people that are donating are also pitching it to
Yeah.
other people to donate.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
We should definitely put him in contact with the Curseborn guys.
Yeah.
This is just like a couple of like young 20-something dudes that wrote a novel and now they've printed it and it's released and they're working on the second one
They're
now.
just killing it right now.
Yeah,
too,
they're raging right now.
They're super, super cool
And,
dudes.
yeah.
And Star Citizen, we had some guys from Star Citizen.
Just the most crowd-funded thing ever in
of
history.
all time.
Oh,
we had
wow.
them come
Yeah.
on the show and talk
$73
about
million. It's
$73
insane.
million on it was Kickstarter, right?
It started on Kickstarter and then it became a thing on their website where it's like buy these
Was there like
buy
we
these
don't need
ships.
Kickstarter anymore?
Yeah, well they beat the crap out of their goal. They got like $14 million on Kickstarter and then they were like, well, let's just keep doing this on our webpage now. If people want this game,
It's so insane.
we can make it better and better and better the more money we have. So
Episode 3, if you want to watch that episode.
go back into the catalogs. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely want to check it out because Matt, like I was saying, keeps
Yeah.
he
There's
bugs
noble,
me about it. Like, all the
noble
time.
ways to do it.
But I'm like, I just don't want to be like. Ever since I started doing music or any of this stuff or being a part of the scene, whatever you want to call it, like my greatest fear has always been like bugging people.
Yeah.
Because I want to do my art, I really do, and I'm gonna work my butt off for it. I'm gonna go out there and do what I got to do to promote it and get people to listen. But in the back of my head, I'm like, the last thing I'll ever want to do is just like bug somebody, like, hey, check out my band, like.
Which he does every time he meets someone new, just so you guys know.
But I try to do it in a cool way.
No, you do
know,
do it in a
like,
cool way.
Try to be like,
Yeah.
And I try to only hit up people that actually look like they might be interested. Like if
Yeah.
someone wearing a shirt, I'm like, oh hey, check this out.
the
You know,
best
Yeah.
thing you can do, man, is just not suck.
Exactly.
Just make it
Exactly.
good.
And
make
Gabe
it
does-
good, and people will follow.
And he
you.
doesn't suck too. So.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no,
buddy.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, dude, yeah, I mean,
You don't suck.
you
bro.
freaking always rock pre-comic book day. So.
thanks,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, that was fun, by the way.
Yeah,
That
you
was
killed
awesome.
it. Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks,
and you
dude.
sounded great. The guy sitting next to me, Rich Friend, he used to be in a band, Hatebreed or something like that. I forget which band he was in.
Yeah.
But,
We were talking about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He had never heard you before, and he like he's like, dude, that actually sounds really good. Like he thought you were gonna suck. I was like, no, he's good,
He
man.
gets that a lot.
It's what, yeah, dude. I love that attitude. Like I played like this punk rock festival, right? Like in January or something like that at this gutter punk place. I don't know how I got booked. I forget. It was like up in LA. Super fun. Like really rad promoters. Everyone involved was really cool. So I'm up there setting up my laptop and everything, right? And I got all these kids. Like everyone's smoking inside. It's like this is like the
Yeah.
most like gnarly show. And they're like looking at me just with like these dirty eyes. Just
Oh,
like,
computer?
What the F is this guy doing here?
Who is he?
And
Yeah.
like Mr. Computer Guy and like no drum set. What's going on? And then, dude, I was like, all right, I better rock it, like it better be good. So I just played the set, and like everybody was getting down, and like they're like skanking to like a couple of songs, and everyone like after the show like had that reaction, like, oh my gosh, that was actually. I don't know how many times I heard actually there. Like, but it made me happy. Like I wasn't bummed out at all. I was like really stoked on it. I was like, dude, that totally like made my week because it was like people who were ready to hate it,
Yeah.
and still liked it. And I still gotta figure out how I got in touch with that show. I don't know how I got, but anyways. But yeah, so the best thing is to not suck.
Yeah.
So
Life lesson. for
Life
guys.
lesson, kids.
Yeah.
but yeah, dude. So
So
cool, man.
you were saying when you were in high school, you were super into like metal and music and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have any like what's the path that you followed to get where you're at today as far as your interests and like? I'm sure you were an artist at that age.
Kind of a crooked path. I always drew growing up, but never looked at it for anything. I was like the guy that doodled,
Yeah.
I mean, and in high school, I was the guy that drew Eddie from Iron Maiden on my math homework. Like I was.
That's right.
I was terrible, and I never looked at it like that. I wanted to be a surfer, a pro surfer. That was kind of my. I didn't really have a goal, and then when I graduated, it was like, oh crap, I better figure something. Oh, I'll try and be a pro surfer.
Yeah.
And I tried that for like 2 years, and it didn't work out. And
Were you good?
I was good back then, but I wasn't great. I was just okay.
Yeah.
I did do a concert circuit or a contest circuit here in Southern California, and never placed higher than third, and realized like, oh, maybe I'm not too good at this, and then I would just worked every crappy job you can imagine. I mean, I've landscaped, I managed a 7-Eleven down the street from here.
Nice,
I
man.
you name it, I've done
Quickie
it.
Mart.
Yeah, I've done it all, man. I've done it all, and just thankfully, I met this girl who's now my wife, and she encouraged me to go back to art school. I had been accepted to the Joe Kubert School right out of high school.
Yeah.
But my parents didn't want me to go. They wanted me to go to state and get a business degree, and that's not me.
Yeah.
And so I just
So you didn't do that.
I didn't do
needless
it.
to
I
say.
just
Yeah.
kind of screwed around, and
Going surfing, Mom.
she encouraged me to go to try art school, and that totally changed everything for me.
Yeah.
So once I went to the art school, my whole life changed. So
That's awesome, dude.
yeah. And but I've done a little bit of everything, and tried a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How'd you go from graduating art school to working on awesome projects that we all love?
It's like any other business. What you know is really important, but who you know is almost as important. And,
Absolutely. There's
so
a lot
true,
of
man.
life lessons in this episode, guys.
Yeah.
That
Thank
is
you, Mark.
huge. Yeah.
When I was going to the Kubert School, I came home for the summer from my first year at the Kubert School, and I went to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I had my portfolio with me, and I wasn't expecting a
Heck
job,
yeah.
but I was hoping, and I was showing stuff around. And there's a inker there named Mark McKenna, who saw my portfolio and really thought I was pretty good, and liked my lettering samples as well. And he was pretty connected at that time. At that time, Mark was one of like the top inkers at Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
And he was from New Jersey, so I went back to school in New Jersey, and I wasn't too far from him, and we just kind of stayed connected, and I started doing his backgrounds, and he would hook me up with lettering jobs and that sort of thing. And word of mouth from him came around to the other inkers that were in Jersey, and so I started picking up a lot of background inking work with guys in New Jersey. And one of the guys I was background inking for was Mike Sellers, whose office was in the basement of the Kubert School, where I was going to art school, and it was right next to Andy Kubert's office.
That's destiny, dude.
And
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
I met Andy, and he's like the nicest guy ever. And
Yeah.
eventually, over time, I met Adam as well, and Adam's office was next to Andy's, and I worked in the Kubert School art store, so I was friends kind of with all the Kuberts at that point. And right before I graduated in my third year, and I was picking up a lot of inking work by that point, just all like background inking and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Right before I graduated, I got called into Adam's office, and Adam's he's a great guy, but he's super intimidating when you first meet him, because he's a little aloof, and Andy's like total salt of the earth, like blue collar guy.
Yeah.
And Adam's like a little more artist, he's like a little more aloof, and takes a bit to get to know him.
Yeah.
And so I was always a little scared of him, I was like, oh, crap. And he's called me into his office, and I knew him, but I didn't know him that well. So I was like, oh shit, what did I do? I'm in trouble or something. Called me in his office, and he's like, did you take the Paste Ups and Mechanicals class? And I was like, yeah, I took that in first year. And he's like, were you good at it? And I said, well, I didn't enjoy it, but I know it, And he's like, do you want a job as art director at Heavy Metal magazine? Now, I grew up on heavy metal. I mean, heavy metal is like half the reason I'm an artist. And I was like, yes. And at the
so
time,
awesome.
Adam was. So a lot of the stories that were printed in heavy metal were from overseas. So they were in French and Spanish and stuff like that. So what they would do is they'd translate them, and then Adam would re-letter them in English. And that's how, when you read heavy metal, it's in English and you can read it. It's because they were hand lettering all of that stuff, and it was all Adam. And I didn't know he was doing that, and I was like, wow. And he hooked me up. And so literally the day after I graduated, I started working in Manhattan for heavy metal.
That's so rad.
Dude, that is awesome.
But again,
That gives me
it was
chills,
all,
dude.
It was all,
Yeah. I
it
love
was
that
all
story.
lucky, there's happenstance.
I
And,
mean,
But-
people call that luck, but you put yourself in that place.
I worked hard.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And you made yourself available, and you were there, and present for them to be like,
One
oh,
other-
let's pick this off the branch of the talent vine. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have. I work with a guy who tells me all the time half the battle is just showing up.
It is.
Absolutely.
And
It really
it's
is.
another life lesson, by the way.
Yeah, it's all life lessons. Because I'm old, so therefore I have lots of life lessons.
There's a Woody Allen quote that's something like 90% of life is showing up and the other 10% is being on time.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
I need to work on the second part.
Yeah,
personally.
me too, dude. Trust me, me too.
Well, I was lucky because because the whole time that was going on, I was doing inking samples and I was sending them to all the companies. But
Yeah.
the company that I was kind of concentrating on was Wildstorm because it was here. It was in San Diego, and I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
I wanted to come home. I didn't love the East Coast. I was really ready to come home.
Been there,
And,
done that as well. Yeah.
Jim McWeeny was one of my teachers at the Kubert School. His brother Tom was an inker at Wildstorm. So Jim would talk to Tom and say, "Hey, I have this kid. He's pretty talented, and I can you go over his samples and just tell him what he's doing wrong or whatever." And so I would send my samples to Tom, and then Tom would Xerox them and he'd circle all the parts I messed up, and he'd send them back to me with like notes. And so that was going on like before I graduated, from January that year all the way up until like May. That was going on.
That's
I was
huge,
doing
yeah.
all of that. And basically, literally 2 days after I started working at Heavy Metal, I get a call from Sarah Becker, who is one of the editors at Wildstorm, and said, "Hey, we have a position for you if you're willing to come out." I was like, had just started at Heavy Metal, so I said yes, and I gave Heavy Metal like 3 weeks notice, and I actually brought in another guy from the Kubert School that I knew was better at the stuff than I was, and I brought him in as my replacement.
Wow.
And so I didn't leave them in a lurch.
Yeah.
And it all worked out. And I moved back cross country, and my wife moved, and so.
How old were you at this point?
Oh man, I was young.
Like, how many years did you take off before you went back to school, and then?
I was 25 when I went.
Okay.
When I came to Wildstorm, I was 25.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So
Dang.
I didn't go to art school till I was like 22, 21, 22. I was one of the older kids there when I
Yeah.
went to art school. So.
That's awesome, dude.
Right.
And so, being in so many different parts of a lot of different industries, like, what are some of the like consistent things that you've seen that have kind of like pissed you off or like made you kind of like, oh man, like what would you do like differently? You know, like because I think we've all like, I mean, you've been in radio and different podcasts, and,
Oh, yeah.
or still are in radio. I mean,
Oh, there's all kinds of
and
stuff that
there's
pisses me off about
you know,
radio.
and like we'll keep it, you know, because a lot of us have bosses and stuff.
Don't want to burn any bridges here.
But no, just because that's something that to me I'm always just I don't know, I just have a passion for it, you know, for
That's what
pissing
keeps you
people
going.
off. No, for really though, for trying to change things. Like I really want to change things, or at least give people advice so they can avoid stuff that sounds like a bunk deal, you know, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
You know, I've certainly made my share of mistakes, and I've pissed a lot of people off during my 20 plus years doing this. But I think what's important is that if you're creative, you really are doing yourself a disservice to not understand the business side of things.
yeah,
To be as fluent as you can on the business side of things is so important, because the reality is that in a lot of the different markets I've worked in, so I've done everything from video games to publications on video games and movies and TV and all that kind of stuff. And I've kind of dipped into all of those, you know, I've done trading cards, all that kind of stuff. And what I found in general is that the creators, the creative people, the people that actually create the thing that you're marketing, they make pretty good money. The business people, the top end business people that run the business of making that thing that the person created, they make pretty good money. Everybody else doesn't make much money.
Yeah.
You know, we're all kind of like cogs in the machine.
yeah,
And so, and a lot of times the business people that are in charge of making the thing are clueless creatively. And they know how to make something because they work with a manufacturer, or they work with I've done product management, or I got a marketing degree at so and so university, you know, all that kind of stuff, which is fine. And it's not, I'm not disparaging them, but they're not creative. So when it comes to creative people working in those situations, a lot of time there can be a clash. There can be a butting of the heads because people don't see things the same way. My advice to people in general is understand that sometimes there are going to be things that piss you off, and just find ways to deal with it, and find ways to still work with those people, because they do bring value to everything. And hopefully, if any business type people are watching this, you understand that creative people are crazy, and that we need to, vent and say the way we think things should be as well. So
Yeah, sure.
You have to have both sides of it, both sides of the equation. So.
I think there is this really cool time, and I don't work with this person anymore, but it was this promoter for this club in Vegas and stuff, and they worked on a bunch of different albums and stuff, and he took me to these really cool meetings. We were hanging out for a while, and I left his car, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta give you a CD, and before you leave, and he's like, oh no, I don't want it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, here, man, let me tell you something. Like, your music is for you and your fans, and that's it. He's like, I've heard your songs, it's cool. He's like, it's okay, yeah, it's good, it'll sell, and not really my thing, but we're investing in you because we think you're just gonna get the job done. Has nothing to do with the way your art sounds or anything. And to me, it was just like, it was cool. Like, I was like, whoa, but I can see how that would piss off a lot of artists. Like, they might be like,
seem insulting,
F this guy, like, he doesn't like my art, though I don't want anything. And for me, I was just like, huh. I just kind of pondered it. It wasn't like either or. I was kind of like, all right, that's cool. I was like, no, we'd invest in you probably even if your music sucked, because we think you're just that type of person that's gonna go out there and sell. So yeah. And I'm like, huh. So he's like, yeah, it's for you and your fans. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's an interesting way of looking at it,
Well,
but
that's just being matter of fact about things. I mean, it's just like, when we're growing up, you go to a comic shop and you're like, I could draw way better than that guy. Or, you do that. I know I did that, as a kid. And what you find out as you get older is that maybe I could draw a monster or something better than that guy, but that guy just drew a whole comic book, and he's doing it monthly, and he's turning it in on time, and he's a professional, or whatever. I could draw maybe one thing better than that guy, and to me, it's like, that's why those guys have jobs. You have to understand that everything is on schedule. Everybody's paychecks are riding on the thing that you're creating, so everybody, unfortunately, gets to talk or say or have a say in how that thing gets made, or when it comes out, and all that kind of stuff. And the whole, like, I'm an artist, leave me alone while I think, and give me a month to do this. It's like, no, man, we don't have a month. We have 2 weeks, and this has to get done, and it has to get out, because if it doesn't get out, then we don't make the money to allow you to do the next thing. And it's hard for artists in general to think like that. We don't.
You can't tame this beast, man.
Well, there's no watch on creativity. There's no clock on creativity.
Or switch.
It comes, exactly. You can switch it on and off. It comes when it comes. And
wake up, I want to be creative today.
Good luck.
But you can really hone that tool by doing it all the time. Yeah. Because eventually you get to a point where the craft part takes over. And it's like, okay, maybe this wasn't my most inspired piece, but it's competent, and half the public is going to look at it and go, oh, that's awesome. You drew Batman. It's like, it was kind of my crappiest Batman that I've ever drawn, but hey, I'm glad you like it. I mean, like, as long as you achieve competency, and the only way to achieve competency is by practice and kind of getting to a point. And that way, when you do have your bouts of inspiration, it's like, oh man, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. But you can still kind of hit those marks all along. That's all the guys that do monthly books. I guarantee you, if you go through like all the greats, John Byrne, Jim Lee, John Buscema, all these guys, you can go through all their books, and you'll see issues where you're like, oh, he must have had a cold that month. Or, like his hand must have been broken. You'll see stuff where you're like, God, I can't believe he drew that. But then 90% of what they do is brilliant, and you're like, that's why they're who they are, and they're consistent. So you have to. Consistency is such a huge thing. We can all be flashes in the pan, but not all of us can step out of the pan and
Yeah.
So
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So much advice.
So much advice.
So much. So many wise words. I love it.
Again, old. Very old.
You want to get to your favorite section there, Dan?
The Twitter questions?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now I'm scared.
No, they're never anything to be frightened of. They're usually very flattering. Make a cut here. How far in are we right now?
50.
Nice.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Wow, nice, very nice. I know. It always feels like
50 questions.
No, 50. We're 50 minutes into the.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, we got 50 questions.
I was like shocked. I was like, oh no.
Lightning round.
That's a look in her face like I shouldn't have told him I had so much time.
Is this all of them? Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, so first one is from Mighty Max 67. You were with Upper Deck for a good while. Do you miss it at all, and why did you leave?
I'll address the last part first. I left in 2010 because I was laid off, along with well over 2/3 of the company.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a massive layoff. So not anything I did personally.
Yeah.
I used to get those cards at Denny's all the time too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to get the Denny's Upper Deck cards.
Yeah. I mean, we did a lot of great stuff while I was there. I was there for 10 years, and most of the time I was there, it was awesome. Got to work on some really great products. Just over time, things kind of went downhill. But yeah, I miss parts of it. I miss working on the Versus game. At the height of that game, I had great budgets, so I got to work with like literally the best of the best artists in the world. I got to work with guys worldwide that were incredible, and to me, like that was the height and the peak of everything. I also worked on Yu-Gi-Oh, and I got to go to Japan and work on the card translations and everything, and that was really awesome, just going to Tokyo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is awesome.
So those are the things I miss about it, but there's things I don't miss about it too. So yeah.
And you have your own. So when did Creative Militia start? So did you have that while you were working at Upper Deck still?
A little bit. For a little bit of time, yeah. It was kind of an idea.
Okay.
And it kind of came out of what I consider kind of the bad years at Upper Deck, my last couple of years there. And what it was just this idea. Upper Deck was having a problem near the end there where they weren't paying artists on time, and a lot of times I was the art director, so I was the guy left holding the bag. I was the guy that would commission artists, and then Upper Deck would not pay them, so the artists would be calling me, and I'd just be like, I didn't have an answer for them, and I'd feel terrible and everything. So it was just a really rough time for me personally, and I had made this decision that when I had the opportunity to, I was going to have my own company doing creative services, where I got to say yes and no in regard to clients and the way I wanted to work with people and the way I wanted to do things. I have kind of like a certain kind of ethic that I like to do, and I like to work in a way that treats artists well and all that kind of stuff. So I was just determined that I was going to do that. So I kind of started Creative Militia more as an idea. It was like a brand idea, and then when I left Upper Deck, it kind of went into full swing from that point. So.
Right on.
Brad. All right, next one is from Mel the Spellmaster. Hi, Mr. Irwin. Huge fan. When do you feel like you got your big break in comics? And we kind of already touched on that. Yeah, that happens often though.
Yeah. I mean, Wildstorm was kind of a break for me. I guess one of the bigger breaks for me was working over Doug Mankey on Green Lantern. When Doug gave me the shot to ink him on that, it was like everything kind of opened up for me. So I started inking him, and I was inking Chris Michello as well, and all of that kind of, I wouldn't say like any one thing was like the big break, but a lot of little steps, So
Which is how life works, kids.
So what is, like, real quick before we go to the next question, what is kind of like a rock star status for like an illustrator? Is there Is there like a thing
well, there's
you
Jim
guys-
Lee. Jim Lee's a rock star, you know, and well deserved. The hardest working guy I know in this industry. I mean, I think we all work pretty hard, but Jim is. I
Sets
mean,
the bar.
I don't know how he draws and is the publisher of DC Comics and has like 8 or 9 kids, I think now. And, you know, like I don't know how he does
didn't
it.
know that.
I do not know
I
how
did
he
not
does
know
it.
that either.
He's an amazing human being.
Wow.
One of the
Prolific
smartest
in
people
many
I've met,
aspects of his life.
Yeah,
Taking over the world, Jim.
yeah, Jim's a rock star. I mean, it's all based on the comic, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, do you guys get like all excited about like? Would you ever like run into each other? Well, you said you work from home, so you never really run into.
when I go to cons, and you have to remember that I was an art director too, so I've worked with almost everybody.
Yeah.
So like I kind of know everybody like in that manner. And then I go to cons as well. And usually when artists go to conventions, it's kind of like we're all homebodies, so it's like our chance to see each other. And
That's cool.
yeah,
That's
so
really
you know, it's
cool.
kind of it's fun. It's more fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
So
it's
Rad.
something more like a family-oriented thing than like a.
yeah, or
Constant.
just a bunch of dorky guys getting together for beers.
It's not
you
at
know?
all what you think, guys.
All right, next one is from Kung Fury.
I looked it up. It's not the. I saw.
It's
that
not
too.
the official
It's
Kung
not the
Fury
official-
No.
official.
Twitter handle.
I was really
Dang it.
excited when I saw that.
It's the 2 Ys. It's Kung
Yeah,
Fury.
just a guy that likes kung fu.
Gotcha.
You have a cool Instagram, by the way, bro.
You do. I know this sounds cliche, but what advice would you give other people who are looking to make a career out of their art?
Watching this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we basically gave you a game plan for success. So.
Stick at it. Don't give up. Don't say no to certain things. Maybe don't be an inker. No, I would just say to hone your craft and just try and be the best that you can at it. Learn how to do all the things that are involved in whatever your art is. If you're a comic book artist, draw. Like draw your butt off and learn to draw everything. It's only going to make you better.
Awesome.
So
And make connections. You
make
have to
connections.
make
Yeah.
No matter what industry you're trying to be successful in, you have got to make connections.
Yep. Be nice to people. Be timely. Don't blow your deadlines. And being nice to people just never hurts. I mean,
No.
it's just a good way to be in general. It's a good way to live your life, but it's also a really good way to be a business person as well.
Cool.
So
Absolutely. Okay, this is at MagicMissy13. Are you the only member of your family who is involved with comics?
yes and no. My oldest daughter is actually in the process of trying to sell her very first comic script to
Oh, wow.
to Image.
How old is she?
She's 21. She just turned 21.
Nice.
But technically, I'm the only member. She's almost there, and I know you'll get it, Ariana. So, yeah.
Very cool. And you mentioned earlier that like your family was the ones you to go to business school.
my mom, and my stepfather at the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like at this time, comics and art wasn't really something.
No, you know what?
I don't want to touch anything too personal.
Yeah, are
but-
they
No,
like
no, no,
foot
no.
and mouth syndrome right now?
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't really have. I didn't have an honest plan.
Yeah.
I had applied to the Kubert School while I was in high school, and they accepted me. And but I was going there blind. Like I never, and I kind of kicked myself for this. I mean, this is before the advent of the internet, but I didn't know. Like, I mean, I had How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. But I kind of glanced through it, It was like more a book that I looked at because I went, "Oh, John Buscema is so awesome," And I just looked at all the pretty pictures. I didn't learn the craft, so I'd never inked before. I didn't like learn how to draw like perspective and all that kind of stuff. I was just a guy that drew monsters and dudes with big muscles. Like that was my whole thing, and so I was kind of going blind, and my parents were like, "That's not a plan." You should go to San Diego
Monsters and
State.
muscle men.
Yeah,
Not
go to
gonna
San
pay
Diego
your
State.
bills.
It's one of the best business schools in the country, and
Sure
get a
is,
degree. And but I can't wear a tie, and I didn't want to cut my hair, and it just wasn't me. So
Yeah.
How long you been rocking this look?
not too long. I did have it short for a while. I'll go like really really long, and then I'll buzz it all off, and then I'll start growing it back again. So, yeah.
Dig it.
Are you going to Comic Fest this year? Or next year, I guess?
I haven't been invited, so I'm not sure.
Better be there.
They invited me last year, but only as a moderator for
Oh.
Andrew Robinson's panel.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm waiting to see what happens with that show. Like I hope it gets better.
Yeah.
It still seems kind of like a real kind of podunk show right now.
Yeah,
And I'm hoping that it picks up though. So,
Cool, man.
yeah, I see Mike. I know that he pushes it and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's cool. It's got a lot of room to grow for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what I can see is like a lot of room.
It's got
for growth.
heavy potential.
Yeah. I feel like it's so trying to go back in time. that
Absolutely.
And there's again pros and cons with that. It's really cool because it's like the focus. I mean, you're there. Everyone who is there for the same reason.
Right.
That's what's so cool as opposed to Comic-Con where it's like
It's about comics
you never
instead
know.
of celebrities,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my God, this is the guy from the League. Like, no, that's not going to happen at Comic
Well,
Fest.
I like that aspect of it from the standpoint. I mean, I grew up in San Diego. I've
Yeah.
been going to Comic Con since 1981, and I have watched what's happened to it and everything. And what I would say about Comic Fest is that to keep in mind is that it's great that they want to go back in like this way of thinking about comics as a whole, because I wholeheartedly agree with that. I work in the industry. I want to see the industry grow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a convention, and I know as an artist, for me, I look at conventions as an investment of time and cost for me. So, like when I look at a convention like that, I have to make money at it, and it has to look like it's going to make me money, or else it's not. It's more beneficial for me to stay home and work than it would be to attend. And so, like, I think that's what a lot of these convention guys have to think about with their conventions is it worth it to pay for a guy to come and have him set up and everything, and then that way do I have enough marketing and stuff out there to make sure that people come to cover those costs for both of us. So yeah.
Dude, the way you just brought the business in there was so sweet. It was like the sweetest, like, just a matter-of-fact way of just, this is how it is, and, like, this is what you do. And there's, no, like, you know how, like, when some people say it, it's like, oh, that guy's all about the business, like, boo. But no, dude, I need to figure out how to do that, because, like, we're doing a lot of stuff right now, and sometimes it gets a little hairy, because you're like, hey, man, so that show, I gotta get made, man. People are like, whoa, dude, you just gotta do it for this.
Listen, it's important. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I love comics. Like I get excited. Like there's a couple. I got every time I ink a character that I've never gotten to ink before, I get all excited. Like a little kid. This is so cool. And I get all geeked about it. But at the same time, I can't deny that I'm not also looking forward to making sure that when the book is done, I get a paycheck and all that kind of stuff. Because the reality is that we all got to live, we all got to eat. Some of it, I have a family, and my youngest daughter is about to go off to college. I already got one in college. Like those real world concerns sometimes can I don't want them to overshadow the fun of what we do, but at the same time, they're very real.
And it's your family.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
it's family.
your family.
It's family.
You are taking care of.
I got to pay for the roof over our heads, and I got to pay for the food on the table, and I got to make sure that they're educated.
Yeah.
So like you think about those things. So
I gotta start telling people to have kids. Then, like, dude,
So it's like,
we can't pay for the show.
I got mouths to feed.
I got mouths to feed, dude. You better
I have more than one mouth. I have another one in my stomach. But
Yeah.
don't pay no attention to Klaatu here.
Awesome, man.
how old are you, by the way? Am I allowed to ask that question?
We can bleep it out if you want us
I
to.
turned 46 in July.
Dude,
what?
Yeah.
Just,
I'm gonna
I've
start
been doing this for a
surfing
long
again,
time,
dude.
man.
You-
I'm gonna
yeah.
start surfing again.
It's because
That
I
is
leave
awesome.
a clean, honest life.
That's cool, man.
Is that it?
Not really.
No drinking.
So smooth, dude.
Yeah.
I drink, but not heavily.
We live in San Diego.
Yeah, we live in the
craft
microbrew
beer
capital of the world.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Gotta represent.
and I love beer. So
Yes, beer is so good.
fans, feel free to visit me at any comic convention, and I will do a sketch for beer. I'm not
Sounds
proud.
good.
Make sure it's sealed though, because
Make sure, don't spill anything on my table. But, yeah,
We should go get some drinks after this, man.
I'm down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What time is it? 4 o'clock. Yeah. That's not too early.
Yeah.
Right, guys? All right, last question is from @George_RFL. Mark, after all the years of doing big name projects, do you still get as excited about a project as you did when you landed your first big name gig? That rhymed too. That was like a rhyming question.
Yeah. I mean, I just inked Jim Lee a couple months ago on a book called Mastermen, and I think it's part of this whole convergence thing that DC is doing. I'm not I'm an inker, so they don't tell me much, but I think that's what it's part of. And it was super rushed. I was kind of like a last minute addition to the book and had to help for the deadline or whatever. But yeah, I get geeked out from being asked to ink Jim, because I think he's fantastic, and it's always a thrill and an honor to be able to ink him. But then on top of that, I knew it was a big book, you know, and a big title. So yeah, I get excited about that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, still enjoy it.
Cool, man.
And I mean, your own projects, that's exciting in its own way, too.
Yeah, finding
Like, oh, man,
time,
I'm
but
actually
yeah.
doing this, yeah.
So, speaking of which, before we go, where can people go to check out Jack's Secret? Or get involved and stay up to date with stuff right now?
I have a Facebook page for Jack, so you can like it and follow on there. I have not updated it in a long time because I've been so busy with other things and trying to figure out how I'm going to publish it. But you can like it. The more followers I have, the better it looks when I go to talk to prospective publishers. So
Put the
please
links up
follow
there,
me.
too.
There's also jack-secret.com, and that's the official website. Some of the stuff on there is also dated. I got to change it up, but it's cool looking and it's a fun site to scroll through. So you can learn more about not only the book but also about me and Dan. Yeah, I mean, I hope to have a lot more news for Jack in the upcoming months, because like I said, the book is I feel like it's finished. I've done all the editing and all the tweaking.
You said you've been working on it for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not in this form.
The
but
overall
it's been,
story,
the overall.
more the overall story than just the first novel. But the first novel's done. I'm already working on the second.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to get it out there to all of you
cool.
people. So
Sounds cool.
Rad.
Yeah, man. Well,
Where can we find you on social media and all that kind of stuff, too, while we're at it?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram, I think, is my name on there is Ged Lee, because I'm a big Geddy Lee fan. My Twitter is One Jack Secret. So I'm on Facebook. So
Very easy to find if
Yeah.
Black
And
Irwin.
again, all these links will be busted links all over the place.
Cool, man.
Word. Thank you so much. That was like informative and like helpful for people that are interested in doing anything related to this. Like, thanks very much for coming.
These
on.
are definitely our favorite interviews and episodes.
Oh,
and stuff
awesome,
like that,
man!
so.
Yeah, thanks.
absolutely.
I appreciate it. Hopefully, I didn't babble too much. So
No,
that's what we love.
That's what we love, dude. Now let's go grab some beers.
Yeah,
I'm down. Let's do it.
Man.
Oh wait, official.
Oh, yeah.
Mic drop. We haven't earned that yet. I'm not gonna do the mic drop yet. Thank you guys for watching the D-Lod show. If you put your 3D glasses on, you totally just got grabbed by Gabe's hand. In slow-mo, too, apparently. That's some special effects. If you didn't get your 3D glasses, then come down to Villainous Lair or Meltdown Comics, and you can pick up a pair. That's Gabe, ladies and gentlemen. I know the show's named after you, but you might be replaced soon.
That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard from the higher ups.
Yeah.
I'm really
They're
stoked
like,
about
I don't know
that.
if we want Gabe on there.
You know what
He's
they say,
just-
folks? When one door closes, another one closes.
For you,
Yeah.
that's cool,
Then
though.
you get your hair caught in it.
Yeah, for you.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching the D-Lod show.
Thank you so much.
And hanging out with
Thanks for our guest.
Yeah, Mark Irwin.
Shredding Mark.
Irwin's the man.
doing a lot of cool stuff too. so.
Absolutely. Check out these comic books. Go find them on the internets or come to a local comic book store.
Internets, the
and
interwebs.
grab some.
Yeah.
And, yeah, dude, thank you guys for watching.
We really appreciate it.
We really do.
Really.
Check
really
him
do.
out. D-Lod Core is most of your social tags. D-Lod Band, what is it?
DLodBand.com is
DLodBand.com.
probably the best because then you can just
Use a
choose which one
portal
you want
for
to follow.
everything.
Yeah, portal.
And then if you want to find my stuff, battlecastshow.com, battlecastshow on
He's
Facebook,
up there too.
Twitter, blah, blah, blah.
There's
blah,
links
blah.
on our website.
Oh,
so.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, go to
of course, dude.
DLodBand.com then.
What do you think
You
this is,
find
bro?
everything.
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 So,
All right. Thank you for watching, guys.
peace out, guys.
See you next time. on the D-Lodge Show.
Later.
Everybody's just like, yeah.
Everyone gets down.
Everyone gets down.
This has been the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown.